Hey there! Hope you all are doing great. Today is the time to dive deeper into modal verbs. In our previous episodes, we covered the basics, but now it's time to refine your skills with error correction and some clever hacks. So, quickly pick up your pen and notepad and let's begin with a quick recap. Modal verbs are special verbs that express possibility, necessity, permission, and more. Common modal verbs include can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would, etc. Well, I do understand you might be feeling that using modals correctly is quite easy, right? Not always. Because at times modal verbs can be really very tricky, which leads to learners make common mistakes. Let's explore and understand them. The first common mistake is using the wrong modal. This can happen when you are not sure which modal verb to use for the meaning you want to express. For example, you might say, I must go to the store instead of I have to go to the store. Do you remember we discussed the usages of these modal verbs in the previous episodes? The modal verb must is used to express necessity or obligation, while the modal verb have to is more commonly used in everyday conversation. Number 2. Using two modals in the same sentence. This is incorrect because only one modal verb can be used in a sentence to express a single idea. For example, you might say, I should go to the gym. This sentence is incorrect because you are expressing two different ideas, possibility and obligation in the same sentence. Well, you are always free to express your ideas. However, in order to do that, you need to use separate sentences. Clear? Number 3. Using a modal with the wrong verb tense. Modal verbs can be used with different verb tenses to express different ideas. For example, the modal verb can be used with the present tense to express ability, but it can also be used with the past tense to express possibility. Observe the examples. Number 4. The error of not using the correct infinitive form after a modal verb, and this error is known as modal infinitive error. It occurs when you use the wrong form of verb after a modal verb. There are two types of infinitives in English, right? TO2 infinitive and bare infinitive. Remember, modal verbs are always followed by a bare infinitive, which means that the following verb does not have the word TO2 in front of it. In the example, the first sentence, you made to borrow my car, is an example of modal infinitive error. And the second one, you may borrow my car, is the correct one indeed. Next, using a preposition after a modal verb is also an error. Just as we discussed now, modal verbs are followed by a bare infinitive, which means that modal verbs are not followed by the word TO2 or any other prepositions. Got it? However, there is one exception to this rule, and the only exception is the use of modal verb ought to. This can be followed by a prepositional phrase. For example, you could say, we ought to be on time for the meeting. But if you say we ought be on time for the meeting, it will be absolutely wrong. Well, those were some of the common errors while using modals. Relatable. Now that we know about the common modal errors, let's talk about how to avoid them and become a modal verb pro. The most important task to do is to spot the modal verbs where a sentence is already given. Okay? And remember that this is the first step in error detection. Number 2, choose the right modal for the meaning you want to express. By now, we know that modal verbs can be used to express a variety of meanings, such as possibility, ability, necessity, permission, and obligation, as in the examples. Observe them. Did you notice the modal verbs are used to express different meanings depending on the context of the sentence? Yes. Therefore, to choose the right modal, you need to think about the meaning you want to convey. Next, in order to avoid using two modals in a sentence, you can think about the meaning you want to express and choose the appropriate modal verb. For example, if you want to express the possibility that you will go to the gym, you could say, I might go to the gym. If you want to express your ability to go to the store, you could say, I can go to the store. Got it? Number 3. And this is something we should understand, that modal verbs agree with the subject of the sentence just like any other verbs. And there is a secret. The secret is modal verbs do not have any singular or plural form. They always stay in the same form regardless of the subject of the sentence. So, it will be wrong to say or write he can swim or the dog must eat. It should be he can swim and the dog must eat. Also, use the base form of main verb after a modal, regardless of the subject. For example, she can swim, not she can swims. Clear? Number 4, remove unnecessary words after the modal verb. For instance, avoid saying I can able to swim. Instead say I can swim. Now we already know that using the word to or any other preposition after the modals is a big no-no. So the key to avoid this error is simply remove the preposition or the word to after the modal verb. In order to help you out a bit more, here is a list of bare infinitives with their modals. But remember, these will vary according to the context of the sentence. Okay? Quickly take a note of it or just take a screenshot. Well, that's all for now. I hope you understood your areas of improvement while using modal verbs, and trust me, by following these correction tips, you will be well on your way to mastering modal verbs. Remember, practice is the key. In the next video, we'll delve into the world of modal verb hacks and practice exercises. We'll explore clever shortcuts to use modal verbs with ease and provide you with plenty of exercises to sharpen your skills. Exciting, isn't it? So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Thank you for joining me on this linguistic journey. Until next time, keep learning and keep perfecting your language skills. Take care. Bye-bye.